I live in the UAE, a desert country. Not much food grows here naturally, yet in the supermarket I can find apples from France, China, South Africa, and many more places. Have you ever wondered how far your food travels before it reaches your plate? This journey is called food miles. Here is an apple picked fresh from the garden, straight from the tree to your hand, and that's 0 food miles. But sometimes the very same apple travels thousands of kilometers by ship, by truck, even by a plane before it reaches us. Food miles simply mean the distance food travels from the farm all the way to your plate. That apple might go from a farm to a processing center, then to a warehouse, maybe even to another country, then to your supermarket, and finally into your car before reaching home. The far it travels, the bigger the hidden carbon cost. But not all travel is equal. The way food moves makes a huge difference. A ship stacked with high containers can carry thousands of tons of food. So the carbon footprint of each apple or tomato is tiny. In fact, moving a kilo of food by ship releases about 50 times less carbon than flying it and about 20 times less than trucking it over land. The thing is, not everything can wait for a slow boat. Fragile, quick to spoil, perishable foods like berries, strawberries, and leafy greens often take a plane ride to stay fresh. And flying food burns a lot more fuel, which means much higher emissions for every bite. The UAE is unique in many ways and does grow some food locally, but it can't meet the needs of its large, diverse population, so most food here is imported from all over the world. In some countries with strong farming traditions like India, it's much easier to support local farmers. The point is, choosing local food means less cold storage, less preservation, and naturally seasonal produce which reduces carbon footprint. For instance, in the UAE, eggs with a green stamp are produced locally while a red or a pink stamp means they were imported. Just a simple color tells you the food mile. So the equation I would like to keep in mind is nearby farms is equals fewer food miles, fresher food, less packaging waste. Faraway countries equals more food miles, longer storage, extra packaging to survive the journey, which also means more waste. Not all imported food is bad. Global trade lets countries like the UAE enjoy variety year round. But food miles are only part of the story. How food is grown can matter even more. For example, a locally grown vegetable that uses lots of water and chemicals could have a bigger footprint than one grown efficiently overseas and shipped here. Also, food choice matters. Beef raised locally can have a far bigger footprint than beans grown abroad simply because meat production is resource heavy. That's why experts use something called a life cycle assessment or LCA, which looks at the whole journey from farming to packaging to transport to find the true impact. Since we can do an LCA every time we shop, food miles are still a helpful clue. Shorter distance is usually better, but balance is key. Local when possible, imported when necessary. Instead of stressing only about distance, focus on what really matters. Choose seasonal foods. They grow naturally at the right time, use fewer resources, and taste fresher. Support local farmers whenever you can. Seasonal and local is best, but most importantly, don't waste food because the greenest meal is the only one that isn't wasted. So, next time you eat after saying gratitude, take a moment to think how far did this food travel?